Pascal. You are now rocking with that dude Pascal. We be going wild, Haitian in the building, so original. Got the haters catching feelings. Get your hands up to the ceiling and keep them held high, cause St. Louis is ready. Forget about it, goodbye. Hold on, we just saying hi. Five somebody, rise up. Weekdays, catch us live, somebody. Let's go.
Good afternoon. Good evening and good morning, everybody. Welcome to the Pascal Show. Hope you guys all doing well out there. Seriously, I hope you guys all doing well out there. Hope this show finds you in great spirits, because another day above the dirt is always a blessing. Let's not forget that. We have got to get all the way out to Mexico again, because there's a lot of things that are popping off in Mexico right now. And here's the other thing. I'm going to say something really quick. Just because there's quiet right now does not mean whatever's could go on is over. Doesn't mean that nothing's going to go on. Because there's a lot of people right now that are reacting to how things are so kind of calm and quiet right now. And don't get me wrong, I get it. It's kind of surprising how quiet everything is getting right now. But it could be the quiet right before the storm. I'm just saying that really quick. Just getting that out the way. I hope that whatever happened, they threw a fit and now it's over, but you never know. We will see what happens here. But please do me a favor before we jump into everything and dive on in to this whole situation. Please do me a favor. Hit that like button down below. Crush the do it to do. Hit that reaction button if you're watching on these other platforms. If you are watching on these other platforms like Facebook, X/Twitter, Instagram, Twitch, Kick, Rumble, make sure you are following, because I'm on all of those. So make sure you're following. Follow. Subscribe right here on my main channel right here on YouTube. Please and thank you. Subscribe to my YouTube channel, baby. That'd be greatly appreciated. Subscribe. Show some love. And hit that subscribe button, love. All right? So hit that notification bell. Set it to all so you know whenever I go live, whenever I upload, because honestly, it is random. Or whenever we have something to talk about. Okay? So make sure you have that notification bell set to all. Hit that join button down below. Become a member. Check out that Patreon if you want to support even further. And, of course, check out PascalMerch.com. We got some really great stuff over there. PascalMerch.com. Okay, guys. All right. Okay, Daco. Okay, Daco. Now, here's the thing, guys. We have got to get into this conversation. A lot of things have been happening since this morning, or actually since last night. But obviously things have now started to kind of slow down. It seems like the chaos has quelled, has seemed to slow down and calm down a little bit. And I'm going to say this, and I just said it a second ago. I even paused the music for dramatic effect, but I'm going to say it again. Just because there's a calm right now, or if this may just be a lull in between chaos, if that makes any sense. Okay. Now we'll see what happens here, but there are still a lot of things being canceled. Yes, certain airlines are saying, "F it, we're going to fly through," and some are going, "No, we're canceling flights until further notice." So there's a lot of information out here that's just flying back and forth. We're going to try to get down to as much of it as we can in this show. But of course, like I said, just because things are calm right now does not automatically mean that it's calm for good. The day is still young. It's lunchtime in Puerto Vallarta right now as we speak. It's lunchtime. So anything is possible from this point on. But here's the thing. I got my fingers crossed. I'm really hoping that whatever happened yesterday is done. And it's wrapped. It's done. We're done. That's what I'm hoping for. But let's go over to Fox and hear what's going on here real quick, because it's still bad.
So Fox News alert, Americans in Mexico have been given the shelter-in-place order as the country descends into violence following the killing of the notorious cartel boss Mencho by Mexican forces. The White House confirming that the U.S. provided key intelligence to this operation. Former acting DEA Administrator Derek Moss is warning Americans in the region are at great risk, and he joins us now. Derek, it's good to see you, my friend. Explain to the audience who aren't familiar with him who El Mencho is.
So, LJ, thanks for having me. It's a great day for Americans yesterday. The hockey goal, the end of El Mencho, the leader of the Jalisco New Generation Cartel, the most wanted man in the Western Hemisphere, is now dead. And that's because we have strong leadership in our country, and the Mexican government has stepped up their game. El Mencho's been flooding the country with deadly drugs for many years. If you look behind me, you'll see all the dead Americans, the dead children over my shoulder. And they're working with the Chinese criminal networks. He's a huge national security threat, and I'm very pleased with the efforts both in America and in Mexico, right? So you have cartel operatives all over America that were led into this country with the wide open border, and they've been here trying to, get our kids and our young Americans these dangerous drugs. So I'm very, very pleased with the efforts, LJ.
So the president's action has caused a massive revenue shift for the cartels. They have 3 operations. It is people crossing the border and they pay a fee to the cartel.
Hold on.
The drug.
I need to pause this really quick. Chloe just said something, and I don't know if that's I don't know if that's true or not. So if anybody knows this information to me, is that true that the word is the closing down borders between countries and offering U.S. citizens on video? What? Is that true? I haven't heard that yet. I haven't heard that information at all. So if that's true, that's insane if that's what they're doing. But I haven't heard that. Like I said, we got to take the comments with a grain of salt until we actually have some evidence, you know what I mean? Some articles or reporters actually reporting that. But that is absolutely insane. So if you guys know anything about that, please send it my way, baby. Send it my way. That's news to me right now. But if they are doing that, then so much for this being calm, right? Like so much for this being, like we're going to be seeing a video here in a little bit by that guy, Max Egan, right? We watched this video yesterday of him just walking in his area, wherever he was staying at. And he was like, yeah, this is kind of the calm after the storm. And he shows what it looks like, the next day. And he's like, it's so strange. It's almost as if they came in, they threw a tantrum yesterday, and now it's all done. Right. So if they are doing more than that, that's scary. But of course, we'll find out more as we continue. Let's play a little bit more of this.
Drugs crossing the border, that's more money, and then the human trafficking. The White House shut that down. Now, there are still some Americans that are traveling to Mexico. Is that safe, Derek?
Well, let me just go back to one thing to make it clear. President Trump, before he got elected, said placing the safety and security of Americans would be the top priority, and he's a man of action. So to answer your question about the Americans, no, it's very dangerous in Mexico. It's been dangerous there for many years. Right now, this is a wake-up call for the world about the treachery of the Mexican cartels. That's why President Trump declared them as terrorists. Would the Americans want to go visit, the middle of Al-Qaeda Central, right? So right now, what we're witnessing, especially on social media, it highlights the level of control and power the cartels have in Mexico. They're blowing up buses. They're shutting down roads. There's blockades in up to 20 states. They're burning buildings, right? So, yeah, it's very dangerous in there. LJ, I feel confident, though, with our State Department professionalism, with the warnings, the communication is going out all over the social media. I think that they're going to be fine. It's just isolated, it appears. I've gotten some reporting that it's kind of like leveled off a little bit. I hope that's true. But, again, you can't go into the middle of an area where terrorists are. It's not safe in certain areas. So, there's gunfire, there's panic in the streets. They were running on to the airport tarmac yesterday. So let's hope and let's pray that the people can get out of there and get home. And so, it's just very dangerous. But let's not downplay the Americans that are in danger today, because we had millions of unknown people coming into this country, ghost criminals all over this place. So we have a big issue. We got to continue to fight hard.
There's a lot of heat going on when it comes to these narco terrorists. So any region that is a central location for these terrorists, Americans should be on high alert. We're not trying to make people fearful, but this is exactly what's happened there. They should take your warning, heed that warning. Thanks, Derek. I got to run, brother.
LJ, one last thing. Just watch the videos on social media and you'll see how dangerous
That's exactly
it is.
right. Thanks, Derek.
I mean, it is pretty bad. You know, it has been pretty bad. Now the question is it going to continue? Right? Is it going to escalate? You know, there's a little bit of a calm right now. Everything's kind of chill. Are they going to start revving up after lunchtime? You know, is this going to be bad? Are we looking at some really bad stuff here? Or is it just, you know, it was a one-time thing and they were just in their feelings about this and now they're just going to move on, right? I don't know about that, but that's something I'd love to get answered here very, very soon. Here's something. Sorry, something's in my eye. But here's something. How Mexico's deadly operation against El Mencho unfolded. So after years of pursuing cartel leader El Mencho, forces obtained a concrete tip that led to the operation that resulted in the demise of the feared, you know, this guy, this monster, okay, in Western Mexico Sunday. So on February 20th, the investigation into the network of El Mencho, the leader and co-founder of the Jalisco New Generation Cartel, led to a key person with access to his hideout. That person was the romantic partner of one of El Mencho's most trusted workers, Mexican Defense Secretary Ricardo Trejo, explained at a press conference. So you mean to tell me the Mexican defense? Wait. So one of his most trusted workers, his girl, was the one to expose his whereabouts. Isn't that crazy? That il na na. Or in Spanish, that il na na. You know what I'm saying? What in the hell? That is insane. So, homegirl who is bumping uglies with one of El Mencho's dudes, okay, said, yeah, he's right over here. He been over here this entire time. Damn. It may not even be his main squeeze. That could have been his side piece. That could have been his side project. You feel me? Ain't that crazy? His il na na. Wow. Honeypot? Or no, she just wanted to snitch for the sake of snitching? Did she find out that she wasn't the only one? And then she said, F it, I'm about to take this whole mother lover, everything down. I'm about to ruin all of his business. Making me the side piece. You got another thing coming, Javier. You know what I'm saying? What happened here? I'm sure he wasn't honey trapped, it did. That side piece behavior for sure. What? Imagine that. She's like, oh no, cabron. No, you ain't gonna do that to me, cabron. No. You see what I'm saying? I'm the side piece? You know, like whatever. I don't know what actually happened, obviously, but that's crazy, right? That's nuts. So on Saturday, February 21st, the woman left the cabin complex on the outskirts of Tapalpa, but intelligence indicated that El Mencho, okay, wait. That person was the romantic partner of it was not El Mencho's side piece. It was one of his workers' main girls or side piece. Ain't that crazy? Okay, I just want to make sure. That's crazy. Okay, so again, on Saturday, February 21st, the woman left the cabin complex on the outskirts of Tapalpa, but intelligence indicated that the drug lord remained at the hideout with his security detail. So this is what the Mexican defense secretary said in this press conference. So Mexico's Air Force and the National Guard's Special Immediate Reaction Force quickly began designing the operation before El Mencho's whereabouts could be lost again. So they're like, oh, there she comes. There she goes. She's coming out. She's coming out of that hideout. That's where El Mencho's main guys are. So he must be there too, right? That's his girl. That's, whoever his name's, one of his main lieutenants, maybe girlfriends. She's been coming in and out of that space lately. He's hiding out here for sure. It's got to be. It's got to be where he's laying low. So the U.S. provided support by sharing intelligence. Are we sure about that, though? I'm hearing otherwise. I'm hearing that they did more than just intelligence. They did more than just brains. I'm hearing that they used some bronze, too. But that's another Charles Dickens story. Let's continue. Rather than supplying ground forces, and this is what President Claudia Sheinbaum added. Now, remember, the U.S. provided intelligence. We just provided the brains. But I'm telling you right now, I'm sorry. This is okay. This is okay. Hold on. Because fair warning. Let me just make sure we make this abundantly clear. Speculation warning. Okay, here's the thing. I'm going to keep it a bean with y'all. At least I try to be as forthcoming as possible. This is where I'm going to be wearing my tinfoil hat right now. But then I'm going to take it off. I'm going to put it back on the table for a second, or in a second, okay? So I'm going to wear it for a second. Here's my thoughts. They said U.S. provided sharing intelligence. I don't think that they only used their Steve Urkels of the U.S. government to solve this situation. I also think that they brought in their Hulks. They brought in their muscle. I really do think that there's more that U.S. was involved in than meets the eye. I don't think that they just said, we're sending you a fax right now of all the paperwork and the layouts of the layer that El Mencho's in. We see his honeypot, or we see one of his workers' honeypots keep walking in and out of this particular area. This must be where he's laying low at. No, I think there's more. I truly think that they showed up suited and booted. America all stamped all over this mug. You know what I mean? I'm just saying. Let's light the fires and kick the tires, Big Daddy. Woo! Let's go. America. That's what I'm thinking. Not only just the facts of the, of the layer, and here's the blueprints, and here's where they've been going in and out of, and here's his side, one of his lieutenant's side pieces walking in, out of this particular area, so he must be there too. Here's some photos, blah, blah, blah. No, I honestly think that they're like, we're going to do a covert operation alongside of you guys, with y'all, and we're going to get this damn thing going. I think that. Now, speculation warning is over. I'm going to take the tinfoil hat off and put it off to the side. I think that there is more to this, and I think America was involved as well. But I could be wrong. Let's move on, though. Like I said, according to President Sheinbaum, she says that the U.S. provided support by sharing intelligence rather than supplying ground forces. But I think the cartel believes that American troops were involved in this situation as well. Hence the reason why they're so angry. But that's another conversation in itself, too. The mission was carried out by ground components, an air mobile force with helicopters that did not reach Jalisco so as to not arouse suspicion, and an air support force. After establishing a perimeter, the forces began pursuing El Mencho and exchanged fire with his lieutenants. 8 cartel members were unalived at the scene, and 2 soldiers were wounded. As the security forces closed in on El Mencho, the drug lord and several of his deputies fled to a nearby wooded area. Mencho left, leaving behind a group with a large quantity of weapons. It was a very violent attack carried out by the organized crime group. The military forces repelled the attack, and then special forces personnel located El Mencho in the forest undergrowth. Now, here's the thing. One thing that I've been trying to understand a little bit too is he somehow was injured. Somewhere, somehow, this man was injured. And then while they were en route, allegedly to the hospital, he lost his life. But they haven't really told us how he actually lost his life. Was he injured on the ground and then he was airlifted going to the hospital? Or did something happen en route to wherever they were allegedly going to go with him alive, and he lost his life? Like there was some sort of altercation and he lost his life on the aircraft. Not he was severely wounded on the ground. They put him in an aircraft to airlift him somewhere else, and that's how, and he perished en route. Did something happen on the plane, on the aircraft on his way to wherever they were originally going to go to, maybe for interrogation, to, detain him, lock him up, and maybe something bad happened, which caused him to lose his life on the plane. Now, here's the thing, or on the aircraft. Now, here's the thing. There's a photo of showing like confirmation of his demise. But the thing is that, and I know it's only from here up, from like mid chest, or like lower chest to the top of his head, right? But in the photo, I mean, he's looking off to the side, which eyes are open, could indicate that he is definitely he does not have, that body does not have a soul in it anymore. But at the same time, there's no proof of wound, if that makes any sense. There's no proof. There's no GSW. There's no gunshot wound. There's no proof of him actually like, oh yeah, he definitely lost his life because there's there's definitely a wound to his head, or there's definitely a shot, that he took to the chest or something like that. It's not that at all. It's just him laying off to the side, and that could just be any photo. Now, I'm not sitting here saying like, oh, he's still alive, like he's Elvis. No, but something strange it just seems weird. This seems strange how that all is unfolding. So I don't know. Something strange is going on, but let's continue on. Here's the other thing too, which is also important to know. Airlines are definitely canceling flights going in and out of Puerto Vallarta. There are some airlines that are still going like, we are going to fly, like we're going to get them and we're going to get them out. But there's a majority of these aircrafts, or like these airlines that are not flying out there. They're like, we going to wait till Wednesday. Okay. We going to wait till Wednesday. That's what we going to do. Okay. Before we actually do this. Okay. Before we fly into Puerto Vallarta or any of these other places. But let's take a look at this. Okay. Flights to and from some areas in Mexico have been canceled. So several airlines have canceled their flights to and from some cities in Mexico amid the unrest in the country following the death of cartel leader El Mencho. As a result, tourists in popular areas such as Puerto Vallarta and Guadalajara have been stranded. They've been left stranded and unable to return home. So Mexican President Sheinbaum said earlier Monday that airlines have suspended some flights as a preventative measure, particularly to Puerto Vallarta. We expect that during the course of today, or by tomorrow at the latest, all flights will be restored, she said. Many flights to other destinations like Cancun, Los Cabos, and Mexico City are still going ahead, airlines told CNN. So here's what we've learned so far today. Southwest Airlines told CNN that it won't have any operations at Puerto Vallarta International Airport today, given the uncertainty on the ground, adding that it will resume operations once it is safe to do so. Southwest flights to Cancun and Los Cabos, will operate as normal, like we just heard in that report earlier. Delta flights, let's see. Flights to Puerto Vallarta from the Twin Cities, Detroit, Atlanta, and back have been canceled today. Delta told CNN that the safety of our customers and crew always comes first, and we are closely monitoring the situation in the region. You got a bunch of other ones. Let's see. United Airlines said it's the. So they said referred to their travel updates page when asked if they're still operating flights to and from Mexico today. On that page, they said Jalisco, Mexico, civil unrest, and says that travel to and from certain airports might be impacted until Wednesday. Like I said, a lot of them are holding out, like Virgin Atlantic, right? They're closely monitoring the situation in Mexico alongside relevant authorities. Our flights and holidays to Cancun continue to operate as planned. The next flight will be on Wednesday. So a lot of them are like, we're just going to wait. We're going to make sure that this is fully over before we just rev everybody up. Okay. So we'll see. But yeah, all of these other airlines, like from Air Canada, Lufthansa, I don't even know how to pronounce that. Lufthansa. I've never said that before in my life. First time for everything. But anyway, which operates 2 daily flights from Germany to Mexico City, confirmed to CNN that its flights today will actually go ahead. So they got cojones. Okay, they got cojones. Air Canada said all flights to and from Puerto Vallarta today have been canceled. They're monitoring the situation and are working to bring our customers back as soon as it is safe to do so. And this is what the airline said as well. So again, like I said, there's a lot of airlines that are just going like, we are going to wait. I think Lufthansa, there we go. Lufthansa is the only one that I've seen so far that's going like, we going to go for it. We going to do it. But they're flying to Mexico City. So maybe Mexico City isn't as crazy as like the places like Puerto Vallarta, right? So again, interesting, right? U.S. says situation in parts of Mexico has returned to normal. See, I'm going to say this, and I don't mean to be like, oh, I want more chaos. No, I don't. I don't want to see no chaos. Do you? And I guarantee you're saying, hell to the no, to your freaking phone or to your TV, wherever you're watching this show. So we don't want to see a chaos and bad things happening and things popping off in these Mexico streets. Okay. But at the same time, are we really sure that we're fully back to normal? They got super mad yesterday. They unalived. They killed a lot of people yesterday, guys. A lot of people lost their lives yesterday. You mean to tell me they just done? Like what? Did they pull the cartel to the side, hold their hands, going like, look at me in the eyes. Are we okay now? Are we cool? Are we cool now? Are you calm? Are you chill now? And the cartel's like, yes, I'm fine. Everything's fine. I was just mad. I'm so sorry. Sometimes I just freak out. I don't know how to handle it. I'm sorry. No, that's not. No. Okay, there's no Dr. Phil for the cartel right now. If they're in their fee-fees about losing the head of their cartel, are they really just going to lash out for one night or for like one day and then they're done? I'm just saying, let's not automatically think that everything's going back to normal if it ain't fully back to normal yet. I'm just saying. But the U.S. State Department Monday advised that the situation has returned to normal in parts of Mexico, but warned that U.S. citizens in several popular vacation spots, including Jalisco and Baja California, should continue to shelter in place. So they're going, wait a second. Some places are chill, but not everywhere. So don't do anything dumb, like going out and trying to go out and kick it. All right. Don't do that. While incidents were reported yesterday, February 22nd, the situation has returned to normal in the following areas. So they got Quintana Roo State, including Cancun, Cozumel, Playa del Carmen, and Tulum, Sinaloa, and Tamaulipas. I am destroying these words. But an updated travel advisory from the U.S. Mission Mexico said. So, however, U.S. government staff in Guadalajara, which is Jalisco, Puerto Vallarta, and other places are sheltering in place until all blockades are cleared. And we urge U.S. citizens to do the same. In Puerto Vallarta, flights continue to be disrupted due to availability of flight crews. Yeah, because not everybody's going to be willing to hop on a plane and fly right now. Like I'm telling you right now, they're not trying. Like, ain't nobody going like, yeah, let's go back and jump on planes. People are insane. People are really insane. The U.S. State Department is running a 24-hour crisis hotline for U.S. citizens impacted by the unrest in Mexico, according to a State Department official. In a security alert Monday, the department continued to urge Americans in various places throughout the country, including the tourist hotspots of Cancun, Cozumel, and Puerto Vallarta, to shelter in place. So there's like, y'all, chill. This is 8 minutes old. Don't you dare go out there thinking that you can go back out there and kick and continue kicking it. Okay, you're trying to go to the bars and vacay as much as you can. And I want to go and drink the tequila with the worm in it. Let's find a tequila bottle with the worm in it. Okay, Susie, let's go. Don't do it. Don't do it. Don't do it. The vacation's over. Okay. Now you have to shelter in place. Don't be cute. And yeah, I know you didn't get that selfie that you wanted, that epic selfie that was going to get you a lot of likes on Instagram and your social medias. I get it, but don't do it. Okay? Just don't. Shelter in place. Shelter. Give it a day or two. Just because it stopped now does not mean it's over. I'm just being real. I'm just being mother-loving real. Okay? Because I care for you guys. Seriously. Don't do it. Okay? You can get the worm tequila bottle with the worm in it some other time. Okay? You can Amazon that crap. Whatever you need to do. Okay? Just please don't do that. All right? Just don't do that. Okay? Just a concerned friend. All right? Let's go over here and take a look at this. It's crazy. I want a tequila bottle with the worm in it. Susie. You might have to order that online somewhere when you get home. Put on some music, you know what I mean? And just close your eyes and take the shot by yourself and just put yourself mentally back in Puerto Vallarta, Just get back over there. You know what I'm saying? Just do that. Take the thing, put it on ice, however you take it, all right? Make sure you see the worm that's in there, all right? Turn on that mariachi music. Close your eyes. Put on a sombrero. Visualize it. That's all you need to do. You're welcome. Let's continue.
So, Fox News alert, Americans in Mexico have been given the shelter-in-place order as the country descends into violence following the killing of the notorious cartel boss Mencho by Mexican forces. The White House confirming that the U.S. provided key intelligence to this operation. Former acting DEA Administrator Derek Moss is warning Americans in the region are at great risk, and he joins us now.
Wait, hold on. What? Did I click on the wrong thing? Dang it. I clicked on the wrong thing. Sorry about that, guys.
Violence erupts in Mexico after the killing of a drug cartel kingpin, leaving airports and resorts in lockdown.
Joining us now, Fox 5's Salvador Rivera to explain the very latest. Salvador, good morning, and thank you for being here in the morning with us. Let's talk about, for those who may not be familiar, who was El Mencho?
El Mencho is actually a criminal who got his start in Northern California.
Does anybody know what Mencho means? What's Mencho? Because I've seen other names, you know what I mean? There's been other ones, like now I'm hearing about the yogurt or something crazy like that. What is Mencho? Does anybody know what that is? El Mencho? The what? What is that? The Mencho? Anybody know what that is? Let me know. Because I'm very curious about that. Okay. It's just a nickname. Somebody said Froyo. Stop. Stop. It means, so it's just a nickname for his name. Nemesiso? Okay. Interesting. Okay. Oh, it means nemesis? Let me look this up. Some of y'all got me twisted. Hold on.
Places. He was convicted several times. Eventually, in the mid-90s, he got deported, ended up in the heart of Mexico in the little town in Jalisco, and he became a police officer of all things. And eventually he got in with the wrong crowd, started figuring out how things were working out. So he partners up with someone and they formed their own little gang. And eventually they hook up with the Sinaloa cartel back then. Then as Chapo starts to go away, they decided, well, let's create our own cartel. And this was the birth of...
I just Googled it. Google AI just said the name's derived from a shortened form of Nemesio. So commonly used in his home state. Okay, so it's just a nickname for his first name. Okay, good to know. Good to know.
Cartel Jalisco Nueva Generación, the Jalisco New Generation Cartel. And they started working with the Sinaloa cartel, but then they started getting just powerful. They created their own sort of inroads, and they were the first to start posting videos on YouTube. Their assassinations, their kidnappings, they would line up, hundreds of them in their fatigues, with their weapons and their masks. They started using social media, and they started to recruit, and they got big, really big, to the point where they became the largest cartel ever. As far as dominance, territory-wise, they were the biggest ever.
So what will his death mean now? Is that what we're seeing right now across Mexico, with the eruption all over Mexico, what we're seeing?
Well, remember, they're so powerful. They control a bunch of territory like northwest of Mexico City, the states of Jalisco, Guerrero, Michoacán, portions of Zacatecas, Colima. So they're huge. So in their big territories, the city of Guadalajara, Puerto Vallarta, where we're seeing a lot of people stranded now, they are retaliating. They're taking revenge on the populace. They're saying, okay, Mexican government, you took down our guy, we're going to make life really hectic for you and the citizens of this country. This is something that we saw when they arrested El Mayo Zambada a few years ago in Sinaloa. The city of Culiacan was taken siege by these people. And for years, it was just, you do not go out at night. Wow. Businesses shut down, restaurants shut down, a lot of schools shut down, and it was horrible for citizens because they couldn't go on with their lives because of the violence, the threats. Like if you were out in the street after dark, we'll take you out and nobody's going to care. It's horrible.
Was it the Mexican government that was involved in the killing of El Mencho? Was the U.S. forces involved? How did this all come about?
We all agree that U.S. provided surveillance information, critical surveillance tracking of El Mencho. We know that. What we don't agree on is what was the involvement. As we know, a SEAL team was sent to Mexico about 2 weeks ago. and they were going down there for training purposes. But now we're hearing that perhaps they were involved in this shootout, but then we hear that they were not. I think in the coming days, we'll find out exactly what happened and what extent of their involvement was.
Yeah, and then even weeks before that, Salvador, they had issued, the United States has already issued a travel warning advisory to Americans traveling to many parts of Mexico. And despite it, many Americans still will travel. And you would think you're going to these touristy places that you're safe. You're going to go onto a resort and you'll be okay. Well, now we got a bunch of Americans who are stuck there.
Well, guilty as charged, because we went down there about a month and a half ago to the state of Guerrero, Cihuatanejo, Ixtapa. And that's one of the states that they tell you to avoid at all costs. And it's funny because you get down there and there's a lot of Canadians and you see them on the beach or at a restaurant and they set up their little Canadian flag as to say, hey, we're Canadian, we're not American. And so that's what's going on. A lot of people, myself included, we tend to ignore these warnings. But on days like today and perhaps into the coming weeks, I think it's something that we have to take seriously. If you ask me, would I travel in the coming days or coming weeks? Likely not. But if my flight's still going and I hear that the hotel's open, I may take the chance. But just
hell no. I'm sorry. No. He's like, if the flight is going out there, might as well. You never know, man. They might be cool for a few days, recoup. Maybe they're all getting over a hangover from going ham last night, and then they might be doing it in, 3, 4, 5 days from now. Next week, you never know, guys. So again, nah. Reschedule, y'all. Reschedule your ish. Now I get it that they need that tourist money, right? These towns, these cities need the tourist money, but at the same time, no, man, no, this is not the time. Not right after. Like this following weekend, if you had plans to fly out to Puerto Vallarta, I don't think that would be a good idea. Just saying. Shoot, 2 weeks, 3 weeks from now, I'd wait. I'd go, maybe we should reschedule for next summer, or next year or something. Give it a good distance because you don't want to be out there in the middle of this stuff. You know what I mean? You don't want to be in the middle of this crowd. Literally, if this continues the way it's going right now, Puerto Vallarta and other cities are going to they're going to become the Wild West. You don't want to be in the middle of that. Because then you got the issue of trying to come back. We got videos of people talking about that. I'm going to show you guys that too. Some people, Michael just said, next lifetime. Okay, Erykah Badu. Okay, maybe we can go next lifetime. Yeah, maybe next lifetime. Not right now. Not right now. Okay, this reschedule.
Because I feel safer down there because I've been down there a lot. And I think I know the layout and kind of know how to talk to cops and other people. But for the most part, I would say I kind of stay home if you can for now.
Changing your
until
travel.
We find out what's going to happen.
I was telling you, a friend of mine is down in Puerto Vallarta right now with her kids. And what we don't think about is that when there is something like this that happens, she said that the hotel is starting to run out of food. Everybody's on lockdown. They're not letting anybody go and come in. So that can be scary for families when you're traveling with kids. And then not to mention the video coming out of the airport in Guadalajara. You're just sitting in the airport, getting ready to catch a flight. That was terrifying.
Yes, and Guadalajara is a big hub, so a lot of flights going through southern Mexico and other parts go through Guadalajara, Mexico City. So yeah, it can be terrifying. You got to go back to work. You're on lockdown. You got kids. And what do you do? And Heather, we were talking a little bit ago. But does the hotel charge you for the extra nights, the extra meals? What happens then? Can you afford it? And so there is a big domino effect, a lot of repercussions that take place for people who are down there right now. And the threat of being kidnapped, that is huge. And then it's a lot.
Is this really going to make a change in cartels and drugs coming into the U.S.?
I remember in like 2002, remember the Arellano Felix cartel, which was based primarily in Tijuana, northern Baja. And Benjamin was killed in a shootout, one of the brothers down in interior Mexico. No, I'm sorry, Benjamin was arrested. Ramon was killed in the shootout. And we thought, oh my God, take them out, it's over. No. Unfortunately, another snake will rise. They'll take over. There might be some infighting because this cartel is huge. There's going to be maybe like a little civil war.
Who's the next
but
leader?
eventually someone will rise up and take over. And I think this flow of drugs and will continue for a long time.
It's not going to stop anytime soon. This is my problem. Yes, you cut off the head of the snake, but but this is like a snake that can regrow its head. Like it's not it has regeneration abilities, right? Just because you cut off what you believe is the head of this snake, it does not stop. So as much as America might be standing back and being like, good job, Trump and the administration for doing what you did, bringing in your intelligence to take down the head of this cartel. It doesn't matter. He's right. There are plenty of other snakes in the grass that are all working together, that will rise to the top and become the new head of the actual cartel. And God only knows what this person's going to be. If they're going to be even more volatile, even more murderous. You cut off one, 5 of them show up. 5 more pop up. And things maintain the same. It does not change what's going on. So the trajectory of the cartel and everything, they need to be destroying the cartel from the inside out. You see what I'm saying? That's what they need to be doing. But that's not what's going on. That's not what we're seeing here. And in fact, I feel like, okay, I'm going to say something wild. Welcome to the Pascal Show. Here's the thing. They needed to have that man alive. I know. Hold on. They needed a Mencho alive. They should not have. If this was a situation where he was unalived, okay, because at the hands of the military, because he's just a bad guy, right? No, don't get me wrong. Justice should have been given to him for sure. But if he lost his life in a way of murder, okay, not a good thing. You want to know why? Because they just took the king. They just took the head of the entire cartel. Remember, just because they cut off the head does not mean 5 more aren't going to sprout up. My problem is they should have used him as an asset to find a way to infiltrate and destroy the entire cartel. Find a way to dismantle it, because that thing is so strong. That cartel is so powerful. It's terrifying, guys. These guys are suited head to toe. They are literally an army. That's it. There's got to be a way to destroy it from the inside. So being able to have the head of that cartel, give them all the ins and outs, and then they're able to go one by one, bit by bit, dismantle to the point where all you have are the foot soldiers, and they don't know what the hell to do because they don't have any leadership or anything of that sort. And then you destroy them. Then you can finally have that cartel non-existent in months' time. It's going to take some time, but you can do it because you would have that intelligence, the insider information by the likes of El Mencho, right? But he gone, guys. He no longer breathing on this planet. So again, now, there's going to be, like he just said, he's not wrong. There will probably be some sort of inner turmoil, okay, as the cartel turns, right? It'll be like, it'll be Carlos and Javier, wanting the top spot, right? And it not happening. And then they go after each other. And whoever's left standing takes over the spot, right? But what's sad is The cartel will stay. They'll have their own little soap opera, their own little drama, okay, which will most likely turn into some sort of Netflix TV show at some point, okay, haunting the top spot. I'm done. But eventually, status quo will be maintained, okay? Status quo will be maintained. And we'll be back to the drawing board of them scratching their heads going, now, how can we take down this damn cartel again? Like, that's what we're back to all over again, okay? Yeah, I know I said that. I didn't realize I said it until you said it, Nicole. Thank you. We are much smarter now because of what you said. Thank you. I appreciate it, Nicole. But moving on, here's the thing, okay? This means nothing. They took him out. Yes, cartel mad, okay? They're, man, you know what I mean? Our man is gone, man. I get that. They're going to retaliate. There's going to be some anger, but the cartel will reign supreme. Nothing's changed. So sure, we can step back and go, good on you, America, for giving the Mexican government some intelligence and taking this guy down. But it hasn't changed anything. Cartel will be back with a new guy in no time flat, and the cartel will be stronger and more enraged than ever before. That's it. So what was the point of all this? That's the question I want to know. Because if it is to take down the cartel, well, then it wasn't successful. No disrespect. No disrespect. But nothing's changed. They took out Juan Man. Just Juan. Yeah. Juan Mencho. Yes, indeed. And there's a million more, right? So again, what's going to happen? I'm sorry. It's the Juan. I don't know why it gets me weak every time. Okay? God, I hate you all. I hate you guys. I hate it. But you get what I'm saying, okay? Something's got to change. They did that, and then I'm going, okay, what's the point? Seriously, think about that for a hot minute. What is the point? What was the point of taking him out? What was the point for Mexican President Claudia Sheinbaum? What's the point? To let them know who's boss? What was the point of that? Something I'd like to know, right? I think we all would like to know. But yeah, guys, I would say going out of town, to Jalisco or Puerto Vallarta or any of those other places, don't do it. It's no bueno. Bad idea. Okay? How do you say bad idea in Spanish? Somebody in the conversation in the family chat bilingual, let me know. How do you say bad idea in Spanish? We're going to learn things today, okay? We're becoming bilingual one show at a time. By the time I start making millions of dollars going live on this show, we will be fluent in at least one language. I swear to Christ, okay? Mala idea? Mala idea? Wow, that's so Spanglish of you. But thank you, Thelma. Your last name's Gomez, so this is real. I'm kidding. Mala idea. That seems so weird coming out of my mouth. But no bueno, mala idea. There you guys go. We've just learned something. Okay? We've just learned a new phrase. Mala idea. There you go. Yeah. Somebody said idea. Like what? Idea. Mala idea. Mala idea. Right? Am I saying that right? No está bien. Mala idea. Right? Sí. Thank you, Alan Gal. Idea. Okay. Idea. Oh, mala idea. That's why you're somebody said, I thought you guys were trying to just be racist. Okay. Idea. You know what I mean? Mala idea. Okay. Mala idea. I was like, mala idea. That sounds so English, right? Mala idea. There we go. Mala idea. There you go, guys. Now we've learned something. Hell yeah. I'm just reading off the chat. You feel me? Okay. We got to continue, though.
All right, let's talk this through with retired Brigadier General Mark Kimmett, former Deputy Assistant Secretary of Defense for Middle East Policy. Thank you very much for being here today. This story that is it just keeps growing. I mean, we've seen a lot of people there posting on social media about being trapped, sheltering in place. First of all, welcome to the program. And I'm curious what you would tell Americans that are stranded in Mexico. What should they do right now?
Well, I think they should take their instructions from the U.S. Embassy. They've been told to shelter in place, and they should do just that. I think most Americans that are in Puerto Vallarta and places such as that, especially those that own property, have probably understood this threat for quite some time and are generally prepared for the consequences of a strike like this. So I would suspect that most of the Americans are sheltering, are in good shape, and just waiting for the violence to settle down.
Yeah, I mean, the question is, how long could this go on? And historically, if you can give us any reference on that, because we've spoken with visitors staying in these short-term rentals that have limited food. So you wonder what they can expect. I mean, how scary is that? You got to decide if you're going to go outdoors and get on the street and try and run for it and get some food and get back. But people are being told to shelter in place. What do you think about how long this might go on?
Well, we're already starting to see the Mexican army and the Mexican police getting onto the streets and trying to restore order. I don't think it's going to go on that long. I think that nobody is in danger of significant starvation or anything that extreme. So much of what we're seeing right now is performative. This is just a gang trying to demonstrate that it's still viable. Some of this gang violence, candidly, has to do with jockeying for who's taking over for El Mencho. So it looks horrible. I think that things are much better than what we're seeing on these selective clips. And the Mexican military and security forces, which are very, very good, I think are going to have the streets settle down quite soon.
Yeah, and as we take a look at what this means moving forward for leadership there in the cartel, what impact do you think this killing has on the cartel's operations? Obviously, there's more than one.
None. The fact is that if we look at this very much like a terrorist group, which in many ways it is, they've got second and third level leaders. There'll be a little bit of jockeying for who's going to be in charge, but the cartel operations are far too profitable and far too sustaining over time. They've been in place for many, many years. So I would simply expect that while they brought justice to one or two of the members of the new generation cartel, the cartel will not be impacted at all.
All right. And what about Mexico's government? How big of a win was this for the Mexico's government?
It's very big. I mean, it's clear that President Claudia Sheinbaum, who you've got on the screen right now, is very much an ally of the United States. Doesn't want to see American troops on the ground, but is working with the United States government, particularly with the provision of intelligence to try to put a dent into these cartels. Part of that was done with Sinaloa cartel when El Chapo was captured.
Right.
Now it's being done in Jalisco, but this is going to go on for some time.
Okay, and just as we continue with our conversation, we want to tell people that we're giving a live look right now as the Mexican president is holding a press conference there, and she is speaking. We are listening in, and we'll bring you any news that comes out of that. As we talk about the Trump administration also that has accused Mexico of not doing enough to combat drug cartels and trafficking. So I'm wondering, on one hand, does it prove that the Mexican government can handle the crackdown without help from the U.S. at this point?
Well, Mexico is getting a lot of help. It's getting a huge amount of help from the United States. It doesn't have the 82nd Airborne parachuting in,
Right.
but it's certainly getting financial support, a lot of intelligence support, some joint interagency task force have been set up. So the bottom line is, to use a trite term, but effective in this case, is we're somewhat leading from behind. I think Schaumbaum's relationship with the United States is much, much better. And I think what we're seeing in this operation is an example of that beneficial relationship between Mexico and the United States. It doesn't attack the biggest problem of all, which is the demand for these drugs here in the United States. But at least the Scheinbaum government is taking action and not neglecting their responsibility to try to destroy these cartels on the ground.
Oops. Yeah. Well, I mean, I guess we got to find out what's next, right? What is the next move after seeing all of this going down, right? I mean, we all are trying to figure out what the hell's going on and why this is going on the way, like the aftermath, right? They take out El Mencho. Okay. You know, I guess the plan was to detain him, but that didn't work out. He gone. So what's the next step, right? What's the next plan? Here's something. Let's take a look at this. This is from yesterday, if I'm correct, but I still want to play it for you anyway. Mexican president said using force against cartels would breach human rights. So returning to the war against the narco is not an option. Returning to the war against the narco is not an option. First, because it is outside the framework of the law. Let's take a look at this. Interesting.
Regresar a la guerra contra el narco no es opción. No es opción. Primero, porque está fuera del marco de la ley. Todos estos de la derecha que se llenan la boca de las palabras Estado de Derecho y defienden la guerra contra el narco. Pues la guerra contra el narco está fuera de la ley, porque como lo dije o lo he dicho en varias ocasiones, es permiso para matar, sin ningún juicio. Y eso en México nadie o muy poquitos están de acuerdo. Está fuera del marco de la ley. Y segundo, no sirvió de nada más que para aumentar los homicidios en México y el nivel de violencia. Entonces, estos llamados autoritarios, porque son autoritarios, es ir hacia el fascismo, regresar a la guerra contra el... Entonces, estos llamados autoritarios, porque son autoritarios, es ir hacia el fascismo, regresar a la guerra contra el...
Interesting. I mean, what do you guys think of this so far? I mean, you know, obviously taking out a notorious person, a notorious monster, okay, taking them down, meaning like getting them out, like arresting them, etc., is always a good thing. But for me, I'm like, you know, what's next after that? Because again, you took them out. Okay. What happens after that? What does that all mean? You know, I feel like there should be more to this, right? This is very strange, but let's take a look at it. This is some videos I've been seeing online, which is interesting. Somebody said, we're stuck here. This is what she said. The TikToker said, we're stuck here and we don't know for how long. Lady, Mexico has been under a level 2 travel advisory for over a year. Better start learning Spanish because you're going to be there for a while. Let's take a look at this video. It's crazy.
Well, we are currently stuck in Puerto Vallarta due to, am I allowed to say this on TikTok? What? Cartel kidnapping retaliation. It's actually not funny at all. Due to,
You know what I find crazy is that they still have music blasting, like, you know, that whole like, ooh, pool party time. You know what I mean? They still got the vibes going on. You see what I'm saying? I can't play this whole thing. I forgot that there was music behind it. But, you know, I think it's very interesting that you got music just blasting, you know, and everybody's like, ooh, you know, like it's very weird, right? When in actuality, people were losing their lives outside of the resort that I'm assuming this girl's at. You know what I'm saying? Like, people were straight up getting murked outside. Like, that's not normal. You know what I'm saying? But let's go over to Oscar Ramirez, because he's been reporting quite a bit about everything that's been going on. And so I want to share a little bit of that, of what he's been covering since yesterday up until today. Let's take a look.
Oscar Blue for Real America's Voice News. Another burned vehicle by the organized crime and the cartel as a sign by the eradication and the execution of Nemesio Oseguera Diaz, better known as El Mencho, leader of the CJNG cartel. In the middle of the highway, these cartel criminals, they just burned another vehicle of pickup truck to send a message to the government and also to the population that they're still in control of several communities. Just now, breaking news that CBS has revealed that an official of the Department of Defense has said that there was a collaboration by special forces of the United States of America with the federal government of Mexico to execute Nemesio Oseguera Diaz, better known as El Mencho. But the ones that they led the operation was the federal government of Mexico to have a perfect execution of this leader of the Cartel Jalisco Nueva Generación. Behind me, you see another burned vehicle just steps away from the border wall. This is a national security issue. The cartel, it is relentless, and it is operating, and it is sending a message not only to the Mexican people and to the Mexican government, but also to the United States of America that are next door right here to the border wall, and sending a message that they are going to continue.
We're going to continue on. Hold on. Because he did put up, he did do a couple things. Couple interviews. Yeah, he was on with Steve Bannon talking about this. Let's take a listen to a little bit of this.
The violence has started escalating after the assassination and execution of Nemesio Oseguera El Mencho. This was a mission that apparently, from the government statements, it was a cooperation between the intelligence of the United States of America, and the ones that led the operation for the execution was the federal government of Mexico. This tells you of the bilateral relationship that right now President Trump has executed perfectly with the Mexican government, so they can execute these kind of missions. After that, violence escalated and got it completely out of hand in part of Puerto Vallarta, part of Jalisco, and part of Michoacan, where the Cartel Jalisco New Generation had massive control. This escalated into the borders, as yesterday in Tijuana, the city that we are located, more than 22 incidents. Why they call incidents? Because they were burning businesses, they were burning automobiles as these narco blockades to send a message to the government that they still have control of these communities, and that ultimately that they are going to unstabilize, and they're going to send a message to the population that they are going to try to terrorize the population to let them know that they have control of this. The violence is...
Now, again, I just, oh boy, this is gonna be a very interesting time, because again, like I said, and you know, here it is. I'm not here to knock any government at all. I'm not. You know, Trump helped. You know, Trump helped giving intelligence. At least that's what they say. Giving intelligence to the Mexican government, right? And then they took out El Mencho. Now he gone, but was this successful? He, you know, Oscar just said he had it was a very successful operation. Blah blah blah. You know, President Trump did a great job. Blah blah blah. And in my mind, I'm like, yeah, okay, he gone. I guess that was the success. That was the goal, I guess. But at the same time, he's still out here. The cartel is still out here. So how much of that is really, how much of this is a good thing? Now, obviously, I know that we could sit here and go, okay, let's wait, give it time and see how things go. But at the same time, is this truly was this truly successful? I feel like that's something that we all should be asking. But yeah, we're hopping all over the place. But here's Dan Dix. He did a couple videos as well. Let's take a look at this.
Whatever you tell me, I can charge you for all day. That is the lineup at the concierge desk here at the hotel. People are waiting for hours and hours and hours. Obviously, a whole bunch of flights have been canceled. There's a massive, massive backlog at the airport. And as you can see, there were dozens and dozens of people there waiting in line for hours and hours. I'm going to have to see if I can rebook the room at this hotel as well, because my room has also, my flight has also been canceled, and there's no word of when I may be able to fly out here. Could be a day, it could be a week. I have absolutely no idea. So we are currently, my wife is waiting in the line. I'm going to try to figure it out. And I'm going to try to continue to do as much coverage as I can. I've got some interviews lined up that I'm going to go do right now. But please stay tuned for the coverage, guys. If you do appreciate this. We've got a lot of brand new expenses popping up. So if anybody wants to pitch in to support my efforts to be here to cover this, you can go to pressfortruth.ca/donate. But the best thing to do is just to share the videos and stay tuned for more coverage coming soon. I don't know how long I'm going to be here, but it's potentially going to be a while. Pray for me as well.
Yeah, this is bad for everybody. This is bad for everybody. Now, here's the thing. Let me just say this too. After thinking about it as well, I'm sitting there going, okay, what's next, right? What's gonna happen here? They do this one thing. They do this. They take out El Mencho, but at the same time, what's up with the rest of the cartel? Maybe there's bigger plans here that are about to be set afoot here very soon. Maybe that's what it is, right? Maybe that's what it is, right? But we don't have any answers of that yet. You know what I mean? So hopefully we hear something very, very soon. But let us continue on. Hold on. We got some more to look at. But yeah, that's crazy how I feel bad for everybody that's out there, because those that are really stuck, in the middle of this, like, this is not what people are hoping that they would be able, they're not hoping for this. They want to be able to, have their vacation, get on a plane and go back home and have a story to tell, right? And some memories, not this kind of memory. But again, this is real life. This is what's really going down. We got a couple updates, it looks like, in regards to this. Hold on. Let me get over here to CNN here really quick. They're just giving updates. Okay, so I'm glad that I saw this. So they're saying, okay, Mexico's most wanted cartel boss is gone. He gone. All right. His soul is in the fiery pits of hell right now. Okay. What could happen next is the question. So the unaliving of Jalisco cartel boss El Mencho could fuel a turf war, which we've been hearing about ad nauseum, okay, among the gangs in Mexico. This is what the analyst said. With the rival of Sinaloa cartel already riven by infighting. So the Jalisco and Sinaloa cartels have long fought to dominate the lucrative U.S. market for illegal substances, including the yayo, the H, and the Fenty. They also, got to use these code words, they also increasingly compete for control of the market for illegal migration into the U.S. So they have a lot of issues going on. So maybe they'll just eat each other. Maybe they'll just self-sabotage and things will implode. But I don't think that's going to be the case. There's been plenty of heads of these cartels getting taken down. We've seen it many times before. Okay. Other big heads, getting arrested, detained, etc. Right? Be gone for good, life imprisonment, etc. And just a new guy takes over. Yes, there might be some turmoil for a few months, but then somebody takes over. Somebody suddenly becomes the leader, and that's what it is, right? So we'll see. But the U.S. government has described Jalisco New Generation Cartel, known by the Spanish abbreviation of CJNG, as one of the 5 most dangerous criminal organizations in the world. Who takes control of the group, or whether it splinters into factional bloodletting, will have a huge impact on the trafficking realm in America. So, again, there might be some turmoil, but then at the same time, maybe nothing happens. Like I said, it'll be inner turmoil, but sure, they're going to crack a few eggs, right? But it'll be back up and running again. And then they'll still keep on moving substances across the border. So again, like I said, and I know somebody in the chat just, said like, hey, trust Sheinbaum, trust Mexican President Sheinbaum. Let her do her work. Let her do what she needs to do here. This is the first swing, right? And there's going to be many more swings coming after this from the Mexican government. Maybe you are right. Maybe that is the case. But then maybe the whole attempt was to take this guy and then find a way to, utilize him as an asset to destroy all of the cartel. And here's the other thing too. I feel that President Trump wouldn't give away that type of intelligence just to take out the head of, I just don't think that he would just give out that intelligence just to take out the head of the cartel. You see what I'm saying, right? You could still, you know what I'm saying? I just don't see him going all right, got a huge plans, huge. Got them all for you, Sheinbaum. You're a tremendous lady, tremendous. Here it is. I feel like he's no, here's all this intelligence so you can take them down. All of it. Start taking them down. If it has to go one by one, so be it. So again, for me, I'm I don't see him going I don't see him doing that. Now, U.S., the dude 2916, yes, the U.S. was involved, indeed. Now, there's rumor and speculation that there were actual American boots on the ground for this specific operation. But what they are telling us, as far as articles, the media is saying that U.S. gave intelligence to the Mexican government. And then they went out and took down El Mencho. And it's all because it all sprouts from a girl that one of his lieutenants was bashing. Yeah, he was clapping. One of his dudes was clapping cheeks with a girl. And that's how they were able to do process of elimination, do the reverse math and go, oh, El Mencho's over here in this area. And then they went and they took him down. Just so you know. So U.S. intelligence was helped, or U.S. gave intelligence to the Mexican government, and that's where they were able to get the information and go and take down El Mencho. That's at least what they're saying right now in these streets. If that's true, we'll see. But remember, they tell us things, and then, maybe there's something else that was really going on, but they just haven't told us everything yet. Or maybe they never will tell us anything at all. Okay? Let's just be completely real. Let's take a look at, they're talking about Mexican National Guard troops losing their lives in the wake of all this stuff. Let's take a look at that.
We do have team coverage of every aspect of this developing story. Ali Bradley is live in Del Rio, Texas, with the latest on the situation in Mexico. Alex Capriello is here in Chicago with the efforts to get stranded Americans out. So, Ali, we are going to start with you. We're now learning that several Mexican National Guard troops have died in these attacks.
Yeah, you're exactly right here, Nicole. Mexican defense officials confirming that the head of the Jalisco New Generation Cartel, or CJNG, was killed during this military operation in Jalisco as they were trying to capture him. So now the White House is also saying that the United States did provide intelligence support, adding that Nemesio Ruben Oseguera Cervantes, known as El Mencho, was a top target for both the U.S. and Mexico. Authorities say special forces came under attack. They returned fire during the operation. They killed at least 8 suspected cartel members, wounding others and making arrests here. Nearly 24 soldiers were also killed in the altercations. Officials also reported the seizure of weapons and armored vehicles, including rocket launchers capable of downing aircraft. Forensic authorities are now working to formally confirm identities. The defense ministry says El Mencho died while being transported. El Mencho led CJNG. It's one of Mexico's most powerful and fastest growing criminal organizations. It was formed in 2009. It has become a dominant force in global drug trafficking and a major driver of fentanyl flowing into the U.S. The U.S. State Department had offered a reward of up to $15 million for information leading to El Mencho's capture. In February, the Trump administration designated CJNG as a foreign terrorist organization, escalating pressure on the cartel and expanding the tools available to target its operations. But here's the deal. It was El Mencho's personal life that actually opened the door for this operation and his subsequent demise. Take a listen.
El 20 de febrero. On February 20th, through central military intelligence efforts, authorities located a trusted associate of one of Mencho's romantic partners who transported her to a property in the town of Tapalpa, Jalisco. At that location, she met with Mencho. On February 21st, she left the property and officials obtained information that Mencho remained there. He stayed at the site with a security circle protecting him.
So hold on. You heard that, right? So in other words, homegirl was there. She did her thing, right? She was with her mans. She did her thing, spent some time with him, whoop-de-woo. And then she left. And I think that not only did they track her, they took her. And they're like, is he there? Is he in that home? And she's like, yes. And then they went in and they pounced. That's what I think. All because of that ill nana. Yeah. Crazy, right? Crazy.
So it was his love interest that led to his subsequent demise there. El Mencho,
Wait, hold on.
59 years old.
Hold on. Let's roll that back one more again. Because I'm hearing it was one of his lieutenants. We read it from one article. It was a lieutenant and his girl. It was one of his lieutenant's girls. What are they saying here?
Organization escalating pressure on the cartel and expanding the tools available to target its operations. But here's the deal. It was El Mencho's personal life that actually opened the door for this operation and his subsequent demise. Take a listen.
Hold on. We're going to pause that for a second, because I need you guys to see this. I want to make sure I'm not losing my mind, and I'm trying to show you guys, because I don't like giving you guys information if it's not correct, okay? So unless they fix it here, I don't know. But here it is. Now we're hearing something else. They may have changed it while we were live. Okay, but look. Boom, boom, boom. Here it is. That person, so led to a key person with access to his hideout. That person was the romantic partner of one of El Mencho's most trusted workers. I want to make this abundantly clear. Was it his side piece or was it one of his lieutenant's side pieces? You see what I'm saying? Because we're hearing one thing from one place saying, no, it was one of his people. Interesting, right? One of his people is saying, was smashing a girl and then she left, right? And then News Nation is saying something completely different. We are hearing that it was one of his own girls that he was bashing that came through. Crazy.
El 20 de febrero. On February 20th, through Central Military Intelligence efforts, authorities located a trusted associate of one of Mencho's romantic partners who transported her to a property in the town of Tapalpa, Jalisco. At that location, she met with Mencho. On February 21st, she left the property and officials obtained information that Mencho remained there. He stayed at the site with a security circle protecting him.
Interesting, right? Very interesting. So no matter what, it was because of a girl. It was because of a woman. That one was spending some time at this particular place where El Mencho was hiding out. She left. She got caught. Like they came up to her and were like, is he in there? And they're like, she's like, see. And then they went and they got him. Okay. All because of a woman. Yeah. Ain't that crazy?
So it was his love interest that led to his subsequent demise there. El Mencho, 59 years old. He was originally from the western state of Michoacan. His ties to organized crime date back at least 3 decades. Now, officials say that security forces do remain deployed across Mexico in the wake of his death there. Now, Guatemala, interesting here, Nicole, they're also reinforcing their border with Mexico because of the fallout, Nicole.
This whole situation for El Mencho was most definitely a mala idea, right? There it is, Spanglish 101, Pascal Show. Y'all learning new languages. There you go. You're welcome. Mala idea. Yeah.
All right, so Ali, this is one of the most prolific cartels in Mexico that we are talking about here. So what can we expect will happen next when it comes to leadership of that cartel?
Yeah, so with these cartels, with these organized networks, when you cut off the head of the snake, oftentimes several grow back. It's not just passing the baton like a natural.
What did I just say earlier? Man. I'm a genius. See what I'm saying? She even said it. You cut off the snake, 5 more pop up. What the hell's going on? I ain't seen this video yet. That's why I'm like, wait a second. This doesn't make any sense. Is it his girl or is it somebody else's girl? Right? Yeah. Yeah. She heard the show. She heard what I was saying. That's what she's repeating it right now because what I say is genius. Okay. But yeah, all because he was running off, chasing cheeks. Okay. Chasing that booty, chasing that il na na, all of it. Mala idea. Indeed. Yeah. Oh, he's a man. That's basically what it is. He's a man. He has needs too. Or according to CNN, which could be inaccurate, his partner, one of his workers, just needed some of that loving, I guess. Okay. But you know, it's just crazy. This is so crazy. All because she must be $15 million richer then. There was a $15 million reward on his head, right? So did she get the dinero or no?
Hierarchy here either. So there are a couple of likely scenarios that we want to break down here today. So internal power consolidation, that's a senior lieutenant or faction could move quickly to stabilize command. Family succession attempt. They could see El Mencho's son, known as El Menchito, step into power, but he's in prison. That would be a little bit difficult. Then there's the option for fragmentation risk. It's the most realistic and the most chaotic. Without a dominant figure, CJNG could splinter off into factions, which leads to infighting, territorial violence, and short-term instability. We talked with a former acting administrator for the DEA, and he says he's concerned about what comes next.
Just want to send my prayers and thoughts to all these Mexican military warriors on the front lines that are still battling it out with these ruthless cartels. They are actually fighting it out. They're looking for turf. There's spillover now of violence in different states. You have a lot of disruption, a lot of retaliation, intimidation going on because these guys are terrorists.
Now, you'll remember, Nicole, CJNG was also the cartel that actually earlier this month was directing its members to shoot across the border at Border Patrol to try to put heat on their rival, the Sinaloa cartel. So that infighting, that kind of faction splintering, and that issue with the cartels was already started before El Mencho was even killed.
Yeah. So they've been looking at this guy for a while. They got intelligence. Then the lady came in. Okay, that lady in red. You know what I'm saying? And that's when they got him because he was busy trying to, he was busy, knocking them boots. You know what I'm saying? He was busy trying to get it in, and just crazy that is actually what's going on right now. Let's take a look at a few more things here.
Some major international news coming in Mexico over the weekend as Mexico's most wanted cartel boss is dead. But what is going to happen next with the cartel and also the security in Mexico, especially in some of the hotspots for U.S. tourists? We'll break that all down right now here on Live Now from Fox. I want to bring in our next guest. Always great to have you on. Jeff Nadeau, a crime history expert as well. You've been covering this over the weekend, Jeff, with your YouTube channel, the Sit Down with Jeff Nadeau, and just been doing great numbers as always. But Jeff, what do you think here of this latest killing of the cartel boss in Mexico?
And as always, Mike, thanks for having me back on. I was shocked. I didn't think the day would ever come where El Mencho would be taken out. He's just been so elusive for so long. We need to understand, El Mencho, Nemesio Asaguera Cervantes, is up at the level of an El Chapo, a Pablo Escobar. He is a transnational drug trafficker who is sitting on a multi-billion-dollar a year business. He is elusive. He's been around for years. He seemingly has 9 lives. He's had a pretty unbelievable life. He started out as security for a small marijuana farm. He then went to the United States, was arrested several times, did time in prison here in this country. He then went back to Mexico, became a police officer. He then got corrupt and ended up kind of always being connected to a group called the Valencia family. He was in a cartel called the Millennial Cartel, and he then kind of took his way through. There was a time where he was actually kidnapped by a rival group. For some reason, he was let go, and he ascended to the top of the largest drug trafficking network, really, in Mexico. It's shocking. I didn't think that day would ever come, but here we are, and we saw the response by his group yesterday.
And Jeff, there were some reports over the weekend that the U.S. might have told Mexican officials, hey, this might be the time for you to do this, and maybe maybe force their hand a little bit. Is there any word on that of what we can learn about maybe the U.S. involvement?
What we're learning with the new administration in Mexico and obviously the Trump administration is they're feeling the heat a little bit, I feel like, and they don't want this country to intervene. So they kind of just say, you know what, give us some information, we'll take care of it, which is what happened here. Their military, Sedena, obviously, was given information. From what I understand, Mr. Mencho, it was pretty common knowledge that he was in this area. It really goes back to from what I understand, according to Mexican media, Mike, there was a girlfriend of El Mencho who he's been seeing for about 3 or 4 years now. She was
Okay, so we're getting, see, that's the thing. We're getting, it's El Mencho's girl. That's his girl, not not one of his workers, which is insane, right? So no matter what, now we're hearing from two different sources, two different media sites, that it was his girl. Crazy. All right. He had a girlfriend, and his girlfriend ratted him out. Hopefully she's $15 million richer.
Essentially.
Oh, and hopefully they're protecting her. Remember that. You don't think that they're trying to find her too? Are you out your damn mind? They're like, where is she? Where's his body? And who's the person that took him out? We want to see them all, right? You don't think that they want to go and turn her into, I don't know, make an example out of her or something like that? Man, she better be on the run, okay? Run, okay? Run out the front door. Don't try to go down to the basement thinking that you're going to get away from the bad guy like that. You know, like you're watching those scary horror movies. You know what I mean? Run out the damn front door, okay? Just run out the damn front door. End of movie.
Tracked through some sort of intermediary, and I think they had kind of understood where he was. From what I've been told by people that I've spoken to, they originally were looking to do this Friday. They weren't able to do it, and it was able to be carried out Sunday. So, you know, they always find kind of a crack in some sort of, you know, intelligence, and they kind of pounce on it. But I think the Mexican government is being pressured. We've seen, obviously, one thing about the Trump administration, they are very interested at this point in taking out these top leaders. Look, Mike, I'm not in the government of any kind or anything, but I don't agree with the strategy. I don't think it works. When we look at really the drug war in general, it's never really worked as far as taking out these top leaders. One thing about El Mencho, look, he obviously should pay for his crimes. He is one of the most depraved people in this hemisphere. That said, you know, he did have some sort of calming over this cartel. Now it's really just going to be a bunch of guys vying for control. And this is where we see the most violence. You know, we saw when El Chapo Guzman was, apprehended, it didn't stop the flow of narcotics. It didn't really fix anything. And now we look at where the Sinaloa cartel is. It's at its most violent point where groups are vying for control. This doesn't work. And the people that really, in the end, suffer are people in Mexico, people that live there, and now even tourists. Because, like, you look at somewhere like Puerto Vallarta, that's a main thoroughfare for Cartel Jalisco and Nueva Generacion. And what you're going to see is tourists be affected, and it really stop the flow of business.
Yep. And that's one of the main things that people are very concerned about as well. I'm sure the people of Puerto Vallarta are very concerned about that as well. The cash flow, tourist money, all that. They thrive off of that. But here's the other thing too. I just found this out. Okay. So El Mencho was married. Side piece showed up. They did, you know, the who, the how, the he, the who, you know what I mean? For 15 minutes. And then she left. And then they caught her. And then they said, tell us, is that him? Is he there? And she said, see. And then they went in and they did their thing. So yeah, that was his side piece, y'all. Not even his wife. His wife's name is Rosalinda Gonzalez Valencia. So Rosalinda is his wife. So homegirl that got pulled over or got caught, that was his side piece. Yeah. So I wasn't wrong when I said side piece before. Side piece. Yeah, he's married. So, and she also, his wife also goes by, she has a nickname, La Jefa, like the boss. Yeah. La Jefa. Interesting. But let's continue. Side piece was big mad. When are you going to tell her? You know what I mean? When are we going to be together? Seriously, you know? He's like, when I get time, I'm busy. I got drugs to move and people to kill. When I get time, then eventually I'll tell her. Okay? Okay? No. You know what I mean? Oh, dear God. Oh, dear God. Yeah, that actually happened. I mean, not that conversation, but you can imagine, though. You can imagine, you know? Yeah.
Yeah, because Jeff, this is coming at a moment where already next month we're going to be talking about spring break, and these big tourist areas, they're going to get slammed right now.
Yeah, and as I said, I mean, you know, in Jalisco, obviously, you know, Puerto Vallarta is a beautiful place, but it is one of the main thoroughfares. There's a person, El Sapo, who is the plaza boss in Puerto Vallarta. It's a big point for them, and yeah, I mean, you also have to start thinking about, Mike, obviously the World Cup. You know, look, I mean, United States is dangerous, but obviously Guadalajara, for instance, is one of the main sites for the World Cup. You know, do the Mexican officials do the World Cup? Do they need to look into maybe moving these games to America or Canada? Yeah, it definitely hurts. Look, Mexico's pretty dangerous in general, but you always try to want to hope that the tourist points are safe and places where money can be made. I do think in Puerto Vallarta it'll calm down a little bit. We saw obviously a heavy response. And I think, Mike, we have to also realize I've never seen in terms of, look, bosses are obviously venerated in Mexico, you know, some of these big cartel guys, but there was a real veneration to El Mencho. They almost regarded him as people as like a god. You know, anytime a video would be released, they would discuss, you know, their, you know, long live El Mencho. He was looked at as a god. And I think we saw the response yesterday. The problem that the Mexican government has that in years past when this happened, you know, whether it be with El Chapo's sons or whoever, a response by these cartels generally led to the release of that person. In this case, it was a kill mission. They can't unkill El Mencho, so they have to deal with the problems. What you're going to now see is, I think, a lot going on in terms of vying for control. Other cartels are going to try to, you know, make something happen through maybe some of the things they view as maybe obviously problems going on inside.
Hold on. He just said it was a kill mission. He just said that. Now, I mean, obviously, he's a crime expert. I don't know, a crime history expert. I don't know how he has any intel on any of this stuff. But at the same time, very interesting that he said it is this was a kill mission, not an arrest to detain him. They were looking to just take him out. And if that's true, that's why I'm going, well, they go and they take him out, but like, what good does that do for the future? You see what I'm saying? Yes, obviously, one bad guy gone. Boo, bad guy. Okay, bye-bye. Boo, tomatoes, tomatoes, tomatoes. But at the same time, I go, wait a second, what else though? Because you also got, you know, he's got his kids that could, you know, take up the spot. Like one of them was El Menchito, which I'm assuming is his son, a junior of some kind, right? That it's not somebody else named almost like him. You know, it's like little Mencho, right? That's little Mencho. Why? Yeah, and I could have sworn, wasn't his son arrested too? Son was arrested too, if I'm correct. So again, you know, this is bad.
So people are going to vie for control.
It's going to be interesting. It's going to be interesting to see what happens here as it transpires, right? But I'm going to continue on. Let me show you guys. Hold on. First off, let me see. Okay. A lot of you guys are starting to follow me on X. I appreciate it. Yeah, please follow me on X. Okay. I don't use it as much, but damn it, I'm going to start using it now. I'll start using it a lot more often. I guarantee you that. But yeah, I haven't really been using X like that. And unless you guys are like wanting to send me something, that kind of thing. But yeah, you guys have been following a lot on X. Damn. So yeah, I'll be using it a lot more. So anyway, follow me on X if you have time. there is something I did want to share with you guys. Let me make sure I got that real quick. There he is. This is another thing. He and this guy put out this video earlier, and I just thought it was a very interesting video because it is the aftermath of the chaos. And it seems like everything's fine. I mean, you got burned, you got skeletons of these like the skeletons of these buses that have been burned and cars and stuff like that. But as far as the chaos is gone. There's no chaos here. It's like they literally had they got very mad, got in their feelings, and then stopped, and maybe this means that they're done, but it also could mean that they're not done, that maybe they're all grieving right now, taking a moment of silence for the passing of their leader. Maybe that's what it is, right?
Look at this guy, folks. It's a little weird, don't you think? Just a little strange. And this character is looking up at these children up here, kind of looking up their skirts. Yeah, this is a very odd statue, folks. But as you can see, Monday morning here, the cruise ship has decided to bail, which doesn't surprise me at all. But Monday morning here at Puerto Vallarta, look, we've got tourists wandering around. I don't see any smoke or fire. Apparently all the burning cars and buses have been removed. The police rolled up and removed them, of course, after the event, because that's what they do. It's important to notice that all of these buses and cars and all these burnout vehicles appeared almost simultaneously all over Puerto Vallarta. They trashed the town, and now they've moved on. And not only did they trash Puerto Vallarta, they trashed all of Mexico. You've got to understand all of these weapons. I've got an article somewhere that I'll see if I can find and post for you, which shows that all of these weapons were supplied to the cartels about 10 years ago by Israel, of course. That's just the way it goes. And you've got to understand how this works. I mean, this is all CIA run. The whole Mexican government, the cartels, it's all CIA run, the whole thing, folks. And Sheinbaum, of course, the Jewish president, recently said she didn't want to sit on the Palestinian Board of Peace because she supports Palestine. Doesn't agree with what Trump's doing, but I think this is probably for show in order for her to gain some credibility. Otherwise, the people will probably overthrow her like they did the last Jewish president in the 1920s, who tried to kill all the Catholics, and they thought, well, this is a bad idea, so they threw him out. And now Sheinbaum's come in, and she's staunchly outspoken to support Palestine and things, but then this happens. This is a way for them to declare war on the cartels and get Trump to intervene. Help people think Mexico is really unsafe. It's all been done by design, folks. This was absolutely a controlled revolution, if that's what you want to call it. It was a controlled event.
What you think? Do you agree with what Max is saying here? That this was a controlled event? But for what, though? For what reason? Can somebody tell me? Because everybody's like, yeah, facts. Yeah, that's true. He's speaking nothing but facts. Let him cook, right? But why the PSYOP then? Why? I want you guys to use your brains for a second. You tell me, what was this whole PSYOP for then? What is this for? I'm going to roll that back a little bit.
Intervene. Help people think Mexico is really unsafe. It's all been done by design, folks. This was absolutely a controlled revolution, if that's what you want to call it. It was a controlled event designed to happen, to bring about an outcome. Now, what they want to do is create the North American Union, merge Canada and the United States and Mexico all as one country. And this is what it's all about. This has totally been staged. Like the police were everywhere for the whole weekend. They were pulling. We even got pulled over driving back from town one night because the cops said we went up a one-way street the wrong way when we didn't. And we kind of stood our ground and argued with them, and they let us off with a warning. So we didn't do anything wrong. But the point is there were cops everywhere for the whole week that we were here. And the morning that this was happening, there were no police anywhere. I mean, admittedly, maybe they didn't want to be around because they didn't want to be killed by the cartels, but they weren't anywhere. This all seemed very contrived. And then suddenly...
Hold on. Here's what's interesting, and it's very interesting that he's pointing this out, and this is not a, it's not a huge surprise, or it is kind of like, if you noticed, you didn't see cops like, driving around going crazy, trying to arrest anybody or anything like that. They just let these guys go out there and just go ham out in the streets, right? Firing off their pew-pews, going crazy in the streets. That's what we were seeing, right? With our own two eyes. We saw that, right? Very interesting, very fascinating, because you didn't see cops running around trying to chase them down or anything. You saw cars on fire, buses on fire, businesses on fire, but you didn't really see 5-0 out there trying to quell the situation. Interesting, right? Did they get a heads up? Did local PD, get a heads up being like, yeah, go and sit this one out. They're going to retaliate, and we don't need you to lose your life over this. So why don't you just go ahead and you guys go and, stand back and stand by kind of thing. You know what I'm saying? It's weird, right? And then now it's like they just went up and cleaned everything up and everything's just back to normal, Strange, right? Let me continue. Let him keep talking.
They've come out, they've cleaned everything up. It was like a one-day thing.
Right. Exactly. Like, it's like they came in, they're like, meh! You know what I mean? Like, it's a kid throwing a tantrum, right? They had a full-on tantrum, blowout, and then now it's time to pick up all the toys and put them back in the toy box. Are you done? You good? And they're like, yeah, okay. I'm sorry. This is not normal. This is not like me. I'm so sorry. It's fine. Let's just put the toys back in the toy box. Everything's going to be fine. Okay? You want a snack? You want some fruit snacks? Okay. Just sit down. It's okay. Daddy still loves you. It's almost like that. It's weird, right? It's weird. And now everything's just cleaned back up. Everything's just back to normal. That's just strange, y'all.
Just kind of good for us. But I'm going to go over here and show you these buses that were burning the other day when I was here. Actually, I'll go down here. I'll walk down the street here and you can see this restaurant that was on fire. And you can check these buses out that were burning as well. Pretty crazy shit, folks. Of course, a lot of the tourists were totally freaked out by it all. Quite understandably.
Right.
This poor tree down here seems to have suffered a fair bit as well. But let's go and check it out. Here's these buses. Pretty crazy.
That is nuts.
Pretty crazy shit, folks.
Not normal.
So that wasn't a restaurant that was burning. It was a tree they set on fire, folks. Look at that. That's what that was. I thought it was this big restaurant. Trying to get the corners mixed up and the places mixed up. There's a beautiful restaurant on a corner down here, and that's what I thought that was. But obviously it was just the trees and the buses. The buses look like they've seen better days, folks. Interesting, just sitting here on the Esplanade in Puerto Vallarta. Yeah, but I think things are going to be probably pretty calm from here.
I don't think so. I mean, I could be wrong, but I don't think that this is like they had a little temper tantrum and now they're done. I don't think it's over yet. Okay. It may not be today. It might be chill today. But then it could be the next day. It could be any time this week where they just decide to go crazy all over again. I just don't think it's completely over yet. That's all I'm saying. I'm not trying to fearmonger, not trying to make anybody feel any type of way or anything of that sort. It's just that it just feels strange that they'd be like, y'all better be, holed up somewhere, citizens, okay, and you tourists, you better be holed up somewhere at 10 p.m. tonight. Because if we see you out in the streets, all y'all going to get murked, right? And then the very next day, it's just like, a little bit of cleanup, that kind of thing. I mean, they obviously haven't moved this yet, but they're starting to clean up all those things and it's done, right? And I'm going, okay, well, are we sure? Are we absolutely 110% sure it's done? I don't think so. I just don't. This may be them being like, yeah, we're cool. And then they all of a sudden just lash out of nowhere. That's possible. That's very possible.
Probably back to normal. I think it was just to create an international incident in order to support the agenda. I mean, sure, they're pissed off that one of their heads was taken by the police and actually killed. I believe his son as well. I think they killed the guy they wanted, Mencho, and they injured his son. And I think his son actually died in the helicopter on the way to Mexico City when they took him. So, yeah.
That's news to me. Interesting. Don't know if that's true, but, just take that with a grain of salt. Don't know if that's entirely true, but let's continue.
Different stuff, folks. Very different. A lot of really weird statues here. You got this one over here, the seahorse. Little boy riding it. Very strange statues, folks, in Puerto Vallarta. I think we're good. I think it was just this one-day thing. Also, the Costco was not burned. I was told that it was, but it wasn't. And also the Soriana, what's that other supermarket?
Costco.
Huh?
Costco.
No, the other, not Costco, the other one.
Soriana, Costco.
Soriana. I think that one is also good. So much disinformation coming out. There were reports of shootings at the airport. Apparently, there were no shootings at the airports. So things seem to be pretty good, folks. And we'll just see what happens. But I think it was just to send a statement, like an international statement. Sure, they're pissed off their boss was killed, but I think the boss was killed, so this would happen. All the world is a stage, folks. But anyway.
Facts. All the world is the stage. All the world is a stage for sure. Okay. But yeah, I don't know. Like they did all of this specifically to get this reaction out of the cartel. I don't know. You know what I mean? Like this is pretty, it was pretty volatile. And then of course, there's still more because, you really think that they're going to be done? I don't know. I just don't think it's like just one big, like one big reaction like this, and then that's it. The day is still young. It's 2:30 over there. The day is still very, very young. Anything's possible. Now, I'm not hoping for more chaos. Shoot, if they're done, they're done. Good. Thank God. They're done. But here's the thing. If they're not done, then maybe they're waiting for nighttime. I don't know. It just seems very strange. All I'm saying is everybody who's in that area should still be as careful as they freaking can, because they're not playing. And there's a lot of people that have lost their lives already from yesterday. Okay. But real quick, guys, hit that like button down below. Get it to 1K if you don't mind. We're very, very close. We're like 9 likes away from 1K. That'd be really, really appreciated. Of course, don't forget to subscribe. Please and thank you. But let me get these super chats here really quick. Melody, thank you so much for becoming a member. Welcome to the family, Melody. And just like Melody, please consider becoming a member by hitting that join button down below. Oh, and I also want to make this abundantly clear. We ain't done with Nancy Guthrie's case. We're not. We're not done with Nancy Guthrie. I will most likely be going on this later on this afternoon, later on this evening, I mean, to discuss any updates revolving around that case and revolving around that search. But there really hasn't been much of any type of updates going around. Like, I'm just telling you, there hasn't been much of anything with that Nancy Guthrie case. People trying to do searches and then, having the police saying that they have to have a permit to do these, to conduct a search. Like, it's so stupid, right? So there's been a few very small bits of information, but there really hasn't been any big revelations or any big clues that have been exposed as of late, as far as this whole thing. It's crazy. It's very crazy. But Reed, thank you so much. L.F. Tardo would be more fitting. Yeah, Reed. Let me do this other one. Thank you. He definitely won't have one call. I'm done. Thank you again for the super chats. Lucky Star, thank you so much again. Or thank you so much all the way from Canada. Hopefully that maple syrup is ever flowing. Okay, forever flowing. That's what I meant. But they have his son, from what I saw on news. Yeah. And then we just heard from Max say something about maybe that the son was severely injured as well. I don't know. But nonetheless, yeah, the son has been detained. That is the word on the street right now. Charlene, thank you so much for the love. I suspect Trump, his ideas, people are all up in this. His ideas, people are all up in this. Okay. Their plan is to rule this hemisphere, leave Europe to Putin and Asia to Xi. Now, that's possible. I mean, you just heard from this guy here, Max, basically say like maybe turning the entire country, like, turning Canada, Mexico, America, all one big country. You know what I mean? All united. Shoot, maybe, I don't know. You see what I'm saying? Anything's freaking possible. I'm not leaving anything off the table, because here's the thing. All of them are possibilities, right? Definitely all of those things are a possibility. Okay. But let us get into this other one. Oh, I already said that one. Thank you. I mean, Mimi, thank you again so much for the super sticker. But I mean, guys, this is a very very strange situation. I mean, yesterday was terrifying, and then again today, it's just been very calm. Which is good. I'm not expecting it to be bad. If they're done, then they're done. I'm glad. But I just don't think the very next day it's safe for us to say, oh, yeah, everybody go back to what you were doing again, because you never know. They might be okay for right now, and then later on tonight they retaliate, or they wait till tomorrow because they need a day to grieve the passing of their leader. That's also part of it, too. That is somebody that they revered and loved, maybe not loved, but respected, right, enough to follow. And that leader is gone. So maybe they're taking this day to grieve and try to figure out what the next move is. And that next move could be more retaliatory violence. You never know. So again, we got to wait and see what happens here. But when it does pop off, or if it is to pop off, we'll be talking about it for sure. Okay. But that is the show. I appreciate all y'all for being here. Really means a lot. Thank you so much for tuning in and being a part of the conversation. Okay. Thank you guys so much. Do me a favor before you head out, hit that like button down below. Crush it. Do what it do. Hit that reaction button if you're watching on these other platforms. And if you are watching on those other platforms, make sure you hit that follow button. Okay. We talk about a lot of things on this show. Okay. So make sure you are subscribed. Subscribe. Of course, I'll be back on a little bit later on. If there's any breaking news, I might be back on earlier than expected, but I will be back on this evening for sure. And to talk about anything that's going on revolving around the Nancy Guthrie case. Okay. Or if there's something else that's popping off, we're going to talk about that instead. But hit that notification bell, set it to all so you know whenever I go live. Hit that join button down below, become a member. Check out my Patreon. And of course, check out PascalMerch.com. Okay. PascalMerch.com. We got some really great stuff over there. Check it out. PascalMerch.com. Anyway, guys, it is time to get going. Stay safe out there. If you are in that area or anywhere in Mexico right now, please be safe. It is still very, very sensitive over there. It could potentially get volatile very, very quickly. So please be safe out there. All right? But I'll be talking to you guys soon. Be good to yourselves. Be good to one another. Talk soon. This is The Pascal Show. Bye.